Hello, people, and welcome to another copyright activist article where I'm just using articles that I find of interest and essentially just talking about them and just doing a quick review of them mostly. If anybody has been paying attention to the Motion Picture Association, you may know a little bit about Richard O. Dwyer. He was recently the admin for TVShack.net. And with TVShack.net in the UK, that was deemed legal. Now, what the MPAA is trying to do is have him extradited to the United States for criminal copyright infringement and have him tried here in the United States instead of the UK for what is essentially facilitating copyright infringement by having people stream on his site. Now here Mike Masnick is actually lambasting the MPAA by trying to piss off the public with these issues of Richard O. Dwyer. Essentially, they have a talking point document for responding to press inquiries about O. Dwyer, and it got leaked. July 19th, it was fairly recent, and they were trying to respond to Jimmy Wales' recent involvement in trying to stop the extradition process of Richard O. Dwyer. And of course, the MPAA appears to take comments out of context to twist them against O. Dwyer. What they say, it quotes that the site reminded people of how much money they were saving by watching free videos rather than paying for movies. Nothing in that statement says that the videos they were watching were infringing copy, just substitutes for going to the theater. Now, what they actually admit is that the overall media coverage has been and will continue to be challenged. Almost everyone sides with Richard O. Dwyer and against the MPAA, and if they had actually thought about this, they would have dropped the charges. But the MPAA decides to double down by trying to find other people to publish blog posts and editorials about why O. Dwyer is a criminal. To quote, to counter these assertions, the MPAA and its allies need a coordinated effort to focus more on the criminal activity involved in the operation of TV Shack and other similar linking sites. Ideally, this will be done through third parties, but finding third parties, especially in the United Kingdom, has been very difficult so far. So the MPAA must be prepared to respond to media requests on the issue and set the record straight to counter the misinformation campaign by our opponent. Of course, the misinformation is actually coming from the Motion Picture Association, and it's their talking points. How can we get people to spin this document? The folks supporting O. Dwyer have nothing really. They're just speaking the truth. Now, the documents completely ignore the legal arguments that make the O. Dwyer case incredibly questionable. They highlight the recent Surf the Channel ruling in the UK to support the argument that O. Dwyer was breaking the law in the UK and US. Now, I'm going to have to get into the Surf the Channel argument later on. And what they ignore is the many questions raised by the ruling and the fact that multiple similar cases went the opposite way, such as Oink.com being declared legal, and similar US cases also seem to be going the other way. There's some claims here about the decision to go after O. Dwyer was made by Homeland Security and ICE. Now, the documents in other cases shown that the ICA relies heavily on claims from the RIAA and MPAA. What this is a link to the just1.com, which was taken down for over a year with little evidence to support their claims, and essentially the ICE was relying on the recording industry to supply evidence of copyright infringement for over a year before just giving the site back with nothing so much as an apology. The MPAA tries to hit back on the claims about internet freedom by saying this case isn't about internet freedom. It's about a man profiting from theft. Now, he hasn't been charged with theft as far as anyone can tell. So the MPAA is trying to counter facts with misinformation. Now, if you notice, Judge Posner actually ruled recently that a third-party site that has embeds of infringing videos isn't infringing itself. So arguing that O. Dwyer is some sort of master criminal just falls flat on its face. Look at also what they're saying. Copyright law is a tool to protect the work of creators and makers, not censorship. Who are the people that create from copyright? Absolutely positively no one. And if you look at the Motion Picture Association, they don't make from copyright at all. Instead, what they do is they try to rip off as many content creators as they can while keeping the copyright for themselves, as well as the money that is owed to the people that actually have the copyright in the first place. So, of course, The MPAA wants to continue these talking points, but they fall on deaf ears because most people understand where the artists and authors are going, and it's no longer to the trade industry. The trade industries, the recording industry, the Motion Picture Association of America, both of those speak up for labels. I mean, the recording industry speaks for Universal far more than it speaks up for 50 Cent. And this has just been a way of the world. So of course, this is a very good article. And if you want to look at more, you can go to techdirt.com. That's usually where I find most of, if not all, my articles. But I hope you enjoy. Talk about it down at it below. What do you think of Richard O'Dwyer? Do you think that he deserves to be extradited to the United States simply for having a linking site? Or do you believe that there should be more issues to discuss than him being extradited and convicted and turned into a criminal simply for having a website and trying to do things in a different way?